These are trends in 1 and 2 bedroom rentals in San Mateo County. You will see in 2011, it was semi-reasonable to, the blue line is a 1 bedroom, it was about $1,250 a month. 2000, now we're way up here in the corner, particularly on the 2 bedroom, up to near 3,000. But we're going to freeze that. Show us the next graph for a second. And this is San Francisco. So 1 bedrooms have gone from this is $3,560 a month on average, $2,361 in San Mateo, $4,730 for a 2 bedroom in San Francisco versus $33. It makes San Mateo look like a deal, by the way. How many of you rent? I'm so sorry. And that's what we're going to discuss today, because Matt, I understand that you were somewhere in this graph. You were living here in town, not too far away, over a kind of crappy restaurant. The place wasn't that great. You were paying $3,500 a month, and they jacked it up to $4,000, and that's why you're here today.
That's right. That's right. Actually, that corner there, I'm over in that area down the street a little bit, but, on top of a restaurant, and yeah. No.
And so, what was your action plan when your landlords hit you with a $4,000? And why don't we tell them what you do, by the way?
So I'm Matt Labbie. I am a PE teacher at San Mateo High School. This is my first year there, being a PE teacher, and after going there working as the athletic trainer there for 3 years, and I also went to San Mateo High School.
So this was like a big important thing for you to be, right?
Yeah, no, my
you
parents
gave up a more lucrative job as an athletic trainer to take this job.
I mean, I wanted to, after being the athletic trainer, I realized that I wanted to be a teacher. I just like working with students and helping them other ways, and helping them out with athletics is one thing, but if I can help them out in the whole sense, that's a whole different ballgame.
So what happened?
So
short form.
Yeah, we're there for a year, the 3 of us in the apartment, and you sign the 1-year deal, but you don't realize that after 1 year, you're really just signing that 1 year, because they're just going to jack it up and wait for the next person. And
so it was going to $4,000. Where you moved?
I moved back home. I was fortunate enough to have family close to me, and I know that others aren't so lucky, but I was.
So that's your strategy for working at home and living at home, working nearby. Many, and we're going to jump to Kevin in a minute, but many of your colleagues, do they have the benefit of working near home or taking over your lease?
It ranges from person to person. If they grew up in this area, then they have family in this area, and maybe they can live with their family. I know people who kind of couch surf with their family and friends, but someone coming from somewhere else doesn't have
These are high school teachers couch surfing through the community. I want to make a point. It's a dramatic point about how we treat people who are a vital part of the education of our children, right? So, Kevin, you're the superintendent of San Mateo High School. What are you doing? I sense that this is a problem in kind of retaining and keeping talent in the school system.
It is, yeah, and everybody knows that the teacher is the most important element of the school. So we're trying to build some housing that's going to actually be located on one of our high schools next to the Millbrae BART stop in Millbrae. And so what we're going to do is we're going to rationalize some of the fields. It'll be a tighter space, but we think that if we can bring in 140 units of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, that folks like Matt can have his own place to live. Maybe he'll settle down and ask his girlfriend to marry him or something like that. And which I think is also another big societal or concern we have with all these folks that can't afford to live. And then he's going to stay with this district for a long time and be the kind of game-changing teacher that our kids need.
One of the you have an old friend of mine from UCLA out here in the audience who's a principal, and he says, one of the problems among some of his colleagues is that there was affordable housing built here, but his colleagues can't afford the affordable housing. And I'm wondering how widespread is that? And while I understand your move on building these 140 units is still controversial, right? It's not something that the community's saying, hey, great, right, we're going to have a place for our wonderful teachers. So is the community getting what you're trying to do?
I think so, more and more. I think that they realize how important education is. This is certainly a valley that feels that way. And then I think that if we can do it in a way that where they see the teacher on a regular basis, whether it's at the grocery store or involved in local activities or just all those places. I think it really makes a big difference. Matt here, he walks down the street and everybody says, "Oh, Matt, you live in the neighborhood." He says, "Well, yeah, I live next to with my parents." That's a different response than, "Hey, I have this place that where staff is all together."
Superintendents are big deals, right? So
Principals and
I mean, you
teachers
talk
are
to
bigger.
people higher up in the system, but you just made a comment that's very interesting. You said that people really value their teachers, they understand education is important. And I guess, the natural question, and we don't have like tons of time to discuss it, is why isn't a strategy try to affect the pay for teachers? When you look at teacher pay, it's so low, it just doesn't move, and it just raises the question that if that was valued, why wouldn't you, provide living wages, if you will?
Well, we could have a long conversation about California school.
Well, we're going to have drinks later.
Yeah. But I think that the issue there is I don't think we can do that.
Right.
But we can provide teachers with a place to live for 5 to 7 years where they can save money, and then hopefully they will be able to buy a place. Plus, when we're competing for talent with other school districts like Sequoia or Palo Alto or Mountain View, Los Altos, we'll have something that can attract people from across the nation. We were talking beforehand about how many people apply for jobs from out of state, and then the big obstacle is finding housing. And if we solve that, I think that's a game changer for the kind of talent we can get as a school district.
So let me ask you both just a question. I don't know if she's still there, but the lady that made the comment, are you still out there, the last one about the cost of housing? She's moved on. It was an excellent point. And Richard Florida, who wrote the book, The Rise of the Creative Class, has this, in the next couple of months, a new book coming out I've just been reading called The New Urban Crisis. And he argues that everything that we've been seeing in terms of the rise of the price of real estate in urban centers is actually going to get much, much worse. And it's in part going to get much worse because of this election, that there's going to be people running away from certain parts of the country into a place where there are more creatives, there are more great coffee houses, there's a sense of dynamism and hope, and those centers of dynamism and hope are going to become very, very expensive. And that all of the trends we've been seeing in the Bay Area are going to get dramatically worse. So I just want to give you a quick thought challenge that you've put your chips into, taking one step. If you were to be sort of more significantly in control, let me put Matt in control. What would you do to fix this? Is socialism the right answer? I mean, when you look at it, what breaks if you don't fix it?
I mean, the issue is having the people that, so if a lot of people, you grow up in this area, you want to live in this area, right? I mean, your family's here, your friends are here, you grow up here, you've got to find a place where you can help your community. I mean, I feel like I'm invested in my community. I mean, I feel like that San Mateo is my home. I want to help my home now. If I can work there, but I can't live there, there's something going on. So, I mean, we just need to fix this situation of where I can't live in the place that I want to help that community, but I can't live there. And there is affordable housing out there. I mean, you've mentioned it. A lot of places open up, and I've applied for them, and I haven't gotten them. And
you can't get into the affordable
thing
housing.
That's interesting is that they'll advertise, oh yeah, teachers, that you have you can apply and this and that, but we're like fourth on the list. I mean, it goes people who live in that city, and then people who work in that city, and then people who live and work in that city, and then teachers after that, and then after that it's everybody, or other whatever the other qualifications are. But we're way down there, so we're not really being helped out. Kevin,
thinking 20 years ahead, what else would you have liked to have done to have solved this problem?
Well, I think if I'm besides thinking about housing, I'm also thinking about the social emotional health of our kids.
Right.
And I think that parents who are here now and have a house, they look at the next generation and they think that their kids have to be absolute superstars just to be able to continue to live close to them. And I think it puts a tremendous amount of stress on families and on kids about how do we maintain a sense of a family unit when we know that this next generation is going to have such a more difficult time affording to live.
You told me you were trying to get your shoes fixed.
Yeah.
And why don't you share that story?
You go to the cobbler and he says, yeah, I'll get them to you in 3 weeks. And you ask him, well, why? You know, you're advertised as a cobbler. And he says, well, I can't get anybody to do that kind of work here. And so we're struggling. And when we think about housing, we're thinking about teachers are the most important part. But all kinds of folks like the bus driver or the cafeteria worker who makes such a big difference in kids' lives as well. So it's a whole range of people that are part of the service economy that make this place a great place to live. And then the demographics are catching up with us too. It's about 40% of our staff are over 50. And so when those people retire, we're really going to have a hard time bringing in that next generation.
Are people hearing your warnings on this? Are people who, the new moguls in this area aware of what a stranglehold this could be?
Yeah, I think that there has been just in my time in the Valley, there's been a sea change in people's attitudes towards the housing crisis. Now, can we catch up? I don't know. And is it going to be a difficult fight still with people who don't believe in more urbanization? But that's absolutely the way we have to go. And the other part I'd say is that we're in a place in school districts too where the populations are very homogeneous. And I don't think that's good for kids either. San Mateo High School is a fantastic place because it has a range of students left. Right. You've got very, very wealthy kids, privileged kids, and poor kids. And in other places I've worked, that's just not the case, and it's increasingly not the case in the Valley and across the nation. And I think it's something that we really need to be profoundly concerned about as we move forward.
Now, is San Mateo High School and San Mateo, that's a public school system?
We have 6 high schools in this, and we serve 5 communities.
So how does gravity differ in the private school / charter school arena?
Well, private schools, I think, are increasingly a place for the folks that can make a choice there and pay $30,000, $40,000 to send their kids to a private school.
And are those teachers paid wages that allow them to be in this community?
They are also working on this housing issue.
Huh.
Several of them have begun looking at ways that they too can provide housing because it's a very large problem. And I mean, if you think about Stanford University has one of the most aggressive housing programs around because they realize that's the way they're going to attract talent.
Mm-hmm. Matt, I really appreciate you being here today. It's I think, unusual and important that someone can talk about what they went through and the journey you've had that has taken you back home to try to, make a contribution in the school you care so much about. How much frustration, though, among your colleagues? I mean, there's a point where you're an unusual story to be told alone, but how much of that resonates with a group of people, and are your colleagues trying to sort of organize in any sort of way politically?
Well, I'll say that it's not something that we're the ones who live at our parents. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Matt. What's your name? I live with my parents. Hey, how's it going? It's not something that we're just openly super
I got to tell you, a lot of people know, and let's give them a round of applause for sharing. But
I will say that just people my age in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the.
But are they frustrated? Or do they want to see something happen differently?
Yeah, people. We need change. I mean, people my age. A lot of us live at home with our parents. It's not. I don't know. I don't have any friends. I don't know anybody who's my age that owns a home in this community. I mean, it's just not. That's a dream to us. I mean, it's a far dream. That's not really a realistic possibility right now. I mean, and we do want change. We want some support. We want rent control. We want affordable housing, and it's tough.
Well, you'll find when we go to drinks in a little while and we're having a reception tonight, right? Yeah, some drinks. I only need a drink. But you're going to find many people, I think, who share your experience that they'll want to talk to you, so I hope you'll be around. We've got time to open up for, just one question. So whoever has a zinger that you want to throw on the table. Yes. Is that you? Oh, you were just itching your, okay. Yeah, you would have bought the painting at the auction. Any questions, comments? Yes, right here. And we have a microphone going right to you.
Although I have a pretty loud voice.
But we have millions of people watching online that won't get that, so here you go. Tell us who you are.
So I'm Jan English-Lewick from San Jose State University. And my question has to do more with, and I'm married to a teacher, I am a teacher. the role of unions in this could be a powerful ally, or it could be an obstacle in this path, because there are differential benefits, and differential benefits is not a happy phrase to use to unions. So what experience have you had working with your teachers union, if you have a teachers union, to accommodate this?
And could I ask one favor, because I'm a layperson on this? Can you just in 30 seconds explain to us what differential benefits means?
Differential benefits means one part of the constituency of the union has a benefit that another does not.
I see.
So, for example, if you're in a large district,
So if you're in Salina, Kansas, and you're an AFT member, and you don't need, you're in a low-cost environment, if you do something for a higher-cost environment, you're creating a problem between those. Is that right?
you are spot on.
Okay, great.
So
Is that an issue, Kevin?
It is an issue, and I think the union is taking a wait-and-see attitude. We've got many teachers who bought homes 20 years ago, so housing isn't an issue for them. And so on issues like this, you have the housed and the unhoused, and so there's differences there. We think that we can build the housing, we can charge moderate rents, and we can make money that will help our district in terms of its finances, given how expensive it is for housing here. So we think we'll be able to add to the program that we can offer and the compensation that we can offer our staff as we go forward.
Matt, are you a union member?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you think it's a good deal?
Yeah, I mean, we're helping me out.
They're going to use that probably in an advertising promotion or something. So with that, please give a round of applause to Kevin Skelly, Superintendent of the San Mateo High School District, Matthew Labbie, PE teacher. He also plays and coaches baseball. So there you go. There you go.